okay. It's okay. Hi, happy Saturday. How are you today? Are you having a great Saturday? Getting prepped for your festivities tomorrow? Or just enjoying your Saturday, whichever it may be? How are you doing today? Hello, hello. Hello, Christine. Hello, Melinda. Good to see you on. Hi, Julie. We're going to have a nice little keep it simple project. I love this project. I make so many of them, but it always seems like I never keep one for myself. So we're going to really make one that is so me that I actually keep it for myself for once, because I think I end up giving them the ones I make away. So I have no samples to show, and I didn't realize I had no samples to show until this morning. Oops. Anyway, hi Rosalinda, hi Kimberly, hi Gail. Oh, good to hear, Melinda. I'm glad things are well for you. So anyway, so we're gonna see. I have these, like, I still haven't totally decided my colors because I have all of these like big bags of beads that we've pulled for other things, and I'm like, I'm gonna work from those. I think that'll be a lot of fun to do. Hello, happy Saturday to you too, Sandra and Sabrina. Hello. So good to see. So I am just going to do mine. I'm going to start out with, because we have the daisy chain two ways. One is, and the picture actually only shows, on here, only shows the one way. But if you saw the pictures in the other post, there's one where it's with leaves that that is showed right here. But then the second way is underneath, and it's actually flower upon a flower upon a flower. Hello, Terry. Oh, absolutely, totally understand. If you're only getting to pop in here real quick in between things, because I know that there's a lot of prep for this weekend. So you're welcome to pop on and off, and then guess what? It's so great that we actually have this available to watch at any time afterwards. Hello, Deborah. Good to see you on here. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Jen. Oh, so glad to have so many wonderful people joining me today. I so appreciate it. Really makes my weekend. I've been looking forward to this all week. I kind of haven't been feeling too well, so I was kind of worried, but we feeling better, and I feel also excited to do this with you. Hi, Catherine. Hello, Susie. Welcome, welcome. It's just so wonderful to see so many people from all over. I love that. I recognize some of my local peeps. I recognize some of my Facebook friends since the beginning of 2020, and also all the new ones that have been coming on since. And I just love that. And I love that we're from all over. It really, it just helps make us remember that the world is small, actually, and we have so many wonderful common joys and likes in this, and to share it together is wonderful. I do have our written instructions. That's very simple written instructions. Part of me thinks I should revise them. This one is in a slightly different format that we used to do years ago, and it kind of shows in this, but it still works really well. And the PDF is available on our Just Bead It Happy Beaders group. So if, I sure hope I have this available to share, because sometimes I forget to recopy things so that I have it available to share. Ooh, come on. Well, maybe not. just by accident while I was trying to figure that out. I'm so sorry for that. Hello, Kathy. Hey, April. Can you do me a favor? I can't seem to find the link to our Happy Beaders group. Can you share that in the comment if you have a moment? Hi, Karen. Hello, Joyce. I love that we have another Joyce in the group. So anyway, this is way down because it was one of our first things that we did in 2020. We brought it back in 2020, April 2020, and it was one of the first ones that we did. So I thought we'd revisit it this time, and so it's going to be very low on the list of that long list that we have, but the PDF is available there, although it is available as a JPEG in the event page and on our Facebook page and in our Facebook group as in an album and in a post that I just did. So you can do those, but those do not print as well. That's why some people prefer the PDF. Hi, Lori. I know it's kind of cool to have April in the comments. It's so nice when she gets to join us. Thank you for sharing that. That is the group link April just shared for our Facebook group. So if you're not part of that, you can ask to join, and then you can see all the wonderful patterns we have in our files, but also get to share with other people beading. All right, so I am going to do this with size 8 C beads. I think it's a great size to make up a pretty decent size bracelet or even in necklace form. I didn't put my earrings on. Just realized I had my earrings out to wear and I didn't put them on. Oh well, they might surprisingly get on in a minute. Anyway, we're going to do it in size 8. It can be done in size 11. It can also be done in size 6 if that's what you have. But I think that 8 is a very nice, like, in-between size and great to learn on. I'm going to be using 1G thread, but any beading thread that you have, you can use Fireline, Wildfire, KO, Nymo, Silamid, Eslon thread. Any of the beading threads will work for this. I'm using a size 10 needle. You can use a size 10 needle. You don't, unless you're doing the size 11, you may want to size it down to a size 11 or size 12 needle, but most of the time the 11s will work on the size 11 C beads will work with a size 10 needle. The other thing is if you have a big eye needle, if you like to use big eye needles, this is a great project for that. So I'm going to put that to the side and let's turn this over. And then afterwards, after we get kind of the basic, these basic daisies on, I am going to I'm going to also kind of show you how to convert the pattern a little bit with a different bead in the center. So that'll be kind of fun. Hi, Barb. Oh, and the other thing that you might want is a clasp and some jump rings for putting on afterwards. My only needle and a thread is or scissors is pretty much all you need unless you're using jump rings, which I also have some of my chain nose pliers on hand if we get to the clasp. Hello, Diane. So let's turn this over. Let's move this a little closer so I can turn this over. Yep, there it is. Do it. That's gonna do it. I think that's gonna do it. Okay. What? Oh, that's my hand. I was like, what is in that corner? Is the mount in the corner? No, the mount's not in the corner. That's my hand. Oh my goodness gracious. You can use any clasp you want. A lot of people use like a little lobster, a little toggle. I have a magnet. I'm going to put a magnet on mine because that's what I like. A snap clasp would be great also. Oh, you can't scale? Oh no. Well, I will fix that. If it's not in there, I will fix it after the live. It was in the beginning, so there was a moment in the beginning where we kind of had problems getting things downloaded because we were still learning the whole process. But I unfortunately cannot check that right now because I am on the live and I don't have a setup where I can do that. I will definitely check afterwards. I thought I saw it in there. And that's why I was pretty confident. But I guess I didn't see it. I was looking for something else, so it could be that I thought I saw it when I was looking for something else. All right. Did you hear that lovely sound of thousands and thousands of beads going to the ground? And more. Apparently this bag, which was full, decided to not be closed. You need to see this beautiful mess of beads. Look at that. That's what's on my table. Most of them are on the table. Some of them went to the floor. We're going to have a fun cleanup after, aren't we? Well, I did want to use some of them, so let's get some of them on my tray. My goodness gracious. There we go. Okay, that should be enough to start. Exactly. I know, we need that big bead mat, don't we? Except for if only it worked in the It is a beautiful mess. It is a beautiful mess. And I will get the ones on the floor someday. Get the ones off the table first. Woo. Oh my goodness, trying to keep them from actually going. So I'm going to be using, let's see, I'm going to be using 4 colors. No, 3 colors. We are going to use 3 colors. I'm going to start with the pink. And I'm going to use this gold, I think. Oh no, I'm going to use this as my center. It is kind of a green, but it's a yellow green, and I think it will pop with that a little bit better. I don't know. We'll take a little bit of both. This is the problem with working with big bags. You have more beads to spill than when we work with little bags. Oh, no, I'm going to like that gold better. Okay, so that's going to be mine. So 3 colors of size 8 seed beads. That was 1, 2, and now I got to do a green for the leaves, which I think I'm going to go with this one here. And just pour out some. Try not to pour the whole thing out. The crazy thing is that pink bag spilt on me about 3 weeks ago. And apparently I did not seal, and that time for sure somebody else was the person that did not close that bag well enough. But this time I have to blame myself because when it fell on that day, I apparently did not close it enough. Oh my goodness. All right, so I am going to be calling, we should have it in a different order. My pink, which is going to be the petals of my bead, of my flower, is going to be the pink, and that's going to be my color A. The gold, which is going to be the center of my flowers, is going to be B. And the green is going to be the C. Yeah, someday. They are lovely, but there is so many. I mean, it's so fun when we get them because it feels so, like, I don't know, glamorous that I have such big bags. But that means I have a lot more beads too that I gotta sell, and so that can be a thing. That looks like cake batter. Kind of does, doesn't it? But they are really fun to have, those big bags. They're pricey big bags. They are, but you know, when there's a color you use a lot of, or you like creating with, it is worth getting a big old bag. All right, now I'm going to pick out my, ooh, I don't have the pink anymore. So let's see, do I want to do the lavender, or do I want to use, I actually think I'm going to go with this darker purple for my thread. Ooh, look at all this. I'm going to pull off some thread. Oh gosh, it really doesn't take, it's about 2 yards is usually enough to work off to do a bracelet. So that's what I'm going to pull off, is just 2 yards. If you have thread conditioner for your thread, that'd be great to use. I do not. I cleared off my table, and so therefore I don't know where it is. I cleared it off only just to pour a lot of beads on it, so it's not clear anymore, but it doesn't have my thread conditioner. That's okay. Get my needle. Oh, this contraption, this it has a stand that it sits in on a stand, but the stand, I keep popping the stand off, so I just kind of use it. But it's from Clover company, and it's actually for sewing bobbins. It's in usually the sewing section, and but it works so good for the 1G. It works really good also for the like Nymo and Eslon. They fit in really nicely. And so there's like just these little, it just pops right in there. In fact, if I didn't want all, I could take them apart and make them less if I needed to, you know, or something. It is really, really a cool thing. And it just sits there, especially when you have the feet, the stand on it. It just sits there and looks cool with all your threads on it. I probably could cut this down to 1 or 2 less, because it looks like I have quite a few empties. But, or I need a restock of the colors that I'm missing. So, but it is a really great gadget. Clover makes it. I used to be able to get it, but they haven't had it in stock. So somebody said that they did find it online. They're somewhere between, I want to say they're somewhere around $15 or something like that. Clover is a manufacturer of lots of sewing gadgets and crochet gadgets and knitting gadgets and things like that. And there are some that, and you can just, there's, so there is a lot of online places that have them. Make sure you get a clover one though, because I've been told that there are some knockoffs, and the knockoffs, it's like these are kind of bendy. It's like a rubbery plastic so that it grips it nicely, and the other one is like a stiff plastic. At least that's what I was told. Hi Yolanda, welcome. I just spilled a whole bunch of beads on my table, so that's all you missed. I also picked out my 3 colors. This is my petal, my A, this is B, this is C. I have 2 yards of thread on my needle. You can either start with a stop bead, or you can start with a bead stopper, or you can wing it and try not to use a bead at all. And that works, a stopper at all, and that works okay. I'm going to grab this bright blue color. I like to use a stop bead that is a totally different color than what I'm using, so that I don't accidentally sew it into my piece, because it can happen. Can happen. And a stop bead is just a temporary bead that that you're going to be taking off later. I know, Christine, it is a great project. You can really make so much with it. I know, I love that little storage thing. It's so cool. So this little stop bead, I'm going to just do this random bead. I tend to just use another size 8. Because the holes are big in 8s, I like to use them. Some people choose to use other kinds of beads. To me, this doesn't, a size 8C bead usually does not like wear down the thread. Sometimes beads with sharper holes will. I'm just going to bring it down to about, I want to be able to have enough to do my clasp ending, which about 8 inches is probably enough, but I tend to leave about a foot. So I brought that bead down to a foot from one end, and then I'm going back through that same bead one more time, and I'm going from the tail end outwards. And what that's going to do is wrap this little loop of thread around the bead, just so that when I do the next step, the beads don't just go sliding off really fast. And you know, it's not going to be super secure. If this moves too much, like I have a matte bead, so it's gonna stay pretty good. But sometimes the shiny beads are a little slicker. You can always go through that twice, and that will help secure it a little bit more if it moves too much. But for the most part, it's just so that when I lift it up, I don't accidentally slide everything away. Hi Ruth. We are using size 8 seed beads in this. That's my favorite one to use, but you can use, I've made, there's a picture in my post where there's a really tiny one that's done in size 11. It's quite lovely. It just takes a lot longer because they're smaller, you know. And I also know that size 6 seed beads will work too, but that size 8 to me is just my favorite go-to in learning, because it's just big enough that you can see it easy, and the holes are nice and big, but it's small enough to kind of still feel not as chunky, but size 6 really makes them look really cool too. So the first part we're going to do, I labeled, this is my petal, so that's A, this is my center, that's B, this is the leaf, and that's C. So we're going to start out with 1A, 1 B, because we're going to start out making the flower first, and 3 A's. So we're going to put on 5 beads total. So that's 1 A, 1 B, and 3 A's. And I apologize that that PDF is missing, whoops, on our group page. I will make sure it goes on as soon as I am done with this. So I added those. Those are going to go down to my stop bead. And remember, that blue bead is going to just be, that is my stop bead. And I'm using a totally different color just so that it doesn't get confused with the colors that I'm using as I'm making it. But also, and it makes it easier for me to go, oh, I got to take that off later, right? Hi, Joanne, or Joan. Now we got our beads on for the first part, so we are going to go through that very first A that we put on that's next to the bead stopper. We are going, or stop bead, we are going to go through that bead, that letter A, and we are going to go away from the tail through just the 1 bead. I'm just taking my needle through that 1 bead. And I'm going to pull. And I'm going to have a little loop that almost looks like a flower. These flowers, these daisies that I'm making are a 6-petal daisy, just to kind of let you know. It makes it kind of easier to know how many more petals you need to go. Because we have 4 petals right there, we have 1 center, and that means the next step is putting 2 A's for our other 2 petals to make 6. So I'm putting those on my needle, and then we're going to go across. We're going to skip our center bead, that letter B, and go into the next petal, and we're going to go from the center outwards. So we want to go away from the flower petals, just putting that needle through that 1 A, and that's going to make those other 2 beads just line up on the other side. So now we have a full little flower, a nice full little flower there. And how cute is that, right? Nice little sweet little flower. Now we're ready to do our little stem and leaf section. Oops, I flipped it by accident. We are going to be adding a total of 5 C's. Whoops. 5 C's, so that's my leaf color. Now I have seen these in so many different color combinations looking so good. I've seen them in fall colors, winter colors, summer colors, spring colors. You really can change it up by changing your colors so nicely. So 5 of the letter C bead are leaf. Those go down. And we are going to take our needle through the second C that we added. So we are going to skip this first C, and we're going to go through this second C. I'm going to pick it up to make it easier. I'm going to go through that second C, and I'm going away from the flower. I am so glad that you joined us, Jan. It's okay if you're late. So happy to have you on. Just gonna pull that down, and now I got my first little stem and part and leaf. that just made those. By skipping the one, it leaves a little stem. And then by going through the second one, it makes the other three form a leaf. And now we have one more C to put on, because we want this to finish. Thank you, Evelyn. It is a great little project, isn't it? Now we have another stem on the other side. And that's one whole set right there. Now it's a matter of making a bunch of these. So I'm going to make a few more flowers. So and it's just a repeat. So when you do get your PDF, you will find that we are only doing this part right here. We're going between that one and that one, that one and that one. Do. Now this instructions really only is the stitch. It doesn't tell you how to put a clasp or anything. So we will go over that after we get a little bit longer on this. So we just added that stem, and so we're going to go back over here and do another flower and repeat back and forth. You know, I don't, but you can. I haven't really had a problem. Depends on your thread, and it does depend on your beads. And I've done this with Wildfire and Fireline to make it a little bit stronger when I wanted, like I made this as a chain for a necklace and actually put a pendant on. And when I did that, I did it with Fireline so that it would be stronger. I've also done it with double thread. So if you could double thread instead of single thread that I have here, that way you don't have to do reinforcing. But really the only places that you can reinforce is you won't be able to get that reinforced in these two spots here that are in between when you're moving from flower to leaf. So it really kind of depends on what you're doing though. Because I do understand some projects, it seems a little scary. But I've had very good success with the 1G as just a simple bracelet in this. I've also had success with the Sono and the KO thread and the Eslon thread. I know people that have used the Nymo and the Silamid thread for this project and liked it and had no problem, but I have never tested those ones myself. And again, you can always use Fireline or Wildfire, and that will give you a little extra strength, especially if you're going to make something that you're going to give to somebody that might be a little bit might be a little bit, need a little bit more strength for it. Hi, Grace. Yeah, Wildfire and reinforce and pulled. Yes, absolutely. If you reinforce that little loop and when you pull tight, it will make that the center bead pop up. And then it's like kind of cute, gives you that little bit of a raised look. A little detail that's really sweet. So you can definitely reinforce each of those steps for sure. I know I usually am a big reinforcer, so it's really funny that this is like one of the few projects that I actually don't reinforce for some reason. I have on occasion do it double threaded though, so that I made it a little stronger for somebody. But or again, the Wildfire or Fireline. I'm going to do my next flower. So it's 1A, 1B, 3C, 3 A's again. I don't know why I wanted to say C's. It's the same color. Same color. It's the petal. And that's really the great thing. I think it is adjustable to what you are wanting to do, you know. So make sure everything's nice and snug up there and go through that very first A to make your petal. So if you did want to reinforce, there's two ways of reinforcing. There's reinforcing after you've made the flower and you just go through all the beads. There's also reinforcing where you'd go right now, go through all of these beads, and then you'd go and do the neck, you go through the neck. So it's like a half reinforcing in that way though. There's two for last two for this petal, and I take the two and go across from the one petal, across from the center, and go through the other petal. And there we go. So if you wanted to, you could reinforce right here and go through all those beads, making sure you end up out of the same bead here so that you're ready for the next. Now I like to do these so that I don't pay attention to how they fall, and I let the leaves kind of go wherever they want to go. Sometimes they will go every other, sometimes they'll kind of do it randomly. We're going to do 5 leaf colors, letter C. And we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2 on the second one. Go through just that second bead that you added. Pull. Make sure you scoot that leaf down to the stem. Add 1 more C to do the second part of the stem. And we're ready for another flower. So it's 1 flower color, a center color, 3 flower petals. So 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B, 3 A's. Love it. It sounds like there's quite a few actually making it with us. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see how you do, see your colors that you picked out, and see how you liked the project. Some of you may be only watching for the moment. I'm going through that very first A, and that's going to start that first flower. Maybe you're going to do this later. You just need a break from whatever festivity preparation that you need to do. Here's 2 A's, and then we're going to go on the opposite side of the center, go through that petal, and there we go. We got another, and now we're ready for our leaves. I would love it if you share, if you want to, if you do end up making this, share your project, take a picture, post it either, you know, you can post it here on the, some people do it in the comments during the video. Some people will do it in the comments on the, post with the instructions. Other people post it in our Just Bead It Happy Beaders group, and that is a great place because then we get to share with more people. Wherever you want to share though, that would be great. It's one of my favorite things is seeing how many people are making them. And now I have 5, and I go 1, 2, and how you're changing it up, like the fact that if you're using a different thread and you're doing some reinforcing, it pops that center bead up and makes a cute little pop-up on there. That's really fun to see. I'm adding 1 more stem. You can get really fun and actually make your stem a different color than your leaf. That would make it look really cute. You can make sure that these beads are one color for the stem, and then these are for the color of a leaf, or even the one and the one. Kind of change it up. I'm going to do one more set just so you can see, and then we'll move on over to the second version on it. Thank you, Yolanda and Kimberly. It's just, you know, really small and dainty, but fun for spring, right? So 1A, 1B, oop, where's the B? Where's the B? 1B, and 3 more A's to start my flower. And then go through. Pull. There we go. Now we're going to add 2 more A's for the rest of the flower, and it's going to go, we're going to go from this petal, cross over the center and out the other petal. Woohoo! And then 5 leaves, number C, letter C. And we're going to go through the second C I added. And then 1 more. So that is the version 1. I'm going to start up another one using the same colors, I think. No, I think, yeah. You know, I'm going to use the same colors just so you can see the difference, so you can have a comparison if you're using the same. But a lot of times, really the second version, which you can't really see very well, but really it's daisy upon daisy. There's no leaves. So usually you have a leaf color like the green. Usually you pick out another color for the other flower petal. And so you have like the pink petal, and then the center, and then you do, so I'm gonna, but since my green is kind of like a teal green, I think we can get away with it, and I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to change up, no, I might just change it up with the green thread. No, I think that purple really shows up in the camera, so I think that's a benefit. And so I'm going to just cut off another piece. I'm not going to cut it off as long. Yes, I know it is. Thank you so much, Christine and Melinda. And you're right, Evelyn. It looks so much harder than it really is. It looks like it has more steps than that, but it really is a pretty simple sequence, and it's all repetitive, so you can really get on the groove, and before you know it, your daisy chain is long. I think Christine and Sandra made necklaces, like really long necklace, not just like a 18-inch. I think they made like, you know, a 30-inch or something that really draped, and it really makes a cool layering piece when you layer it with other stuff. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so in the version 2, let's get another bright blue bead for a stopper bead, so I have that, and I don't have to worry about it. These daisies are now, so the first daisy is a 6-petal daisy. This daisy chain stitch is an 8 petal. I'm just going to get my stop bead on, so I'm just going to add that color that I'm not using. Run through it one more time, having it about 8 to 12 inches from one end, so you can put your clasp on. So we're going to start it in the same way though. You start with 1A, 1B, and 3 A's. Ah, Sandra, awesome. You're wearing yours today. That is so great. Uh-oh. Did you freeze, Evelyn? Sometimes you have to go in and out, and I have no idea if you can see that or hear me because it's frozen. But sometimes you have to go in and out in order to be able to do that, to get out of that whole freezing. You may have to close the app and then go back on. Okay, so it starts the same way. 1A, 1B, 3 A's. And go through that very first one. Same thing, right? Easy peasy. We've already done that. Now, instead of 2, we are now going to be putting 4 because we need to make it 8. So we are going 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to skip that center and go through the other petal on the other side. This one is a little sturdier of a chain, so in a way it is nice to reinforce that because it gives the this other one gives the kind of you can tell that you need to be like it's a softer flow and a movable flow, so it's not one that you really think to like yank on, whereas this one is going to be daisy upon daisy, and when it's daisy upon daisy where it feels more solid, so reinforcing that circle is a nice thing. The next step is to take 2 of your C beads. Those are going to be the first 2 petals of your next flower. And you're going to go through 2 petals here. You're going to go downwards through so that you're exiting out the same way. So it's the opposite. So it's the one you're coming out of and the one behind it. So you start with the one behind it and go through. And then go up through the 2 new petals that you just added. And again, if you want it to be a little sturdier, you can reinforce here. You can just go back down through these 2 petals and then back up. Oh. Hello, Joyce. Hello, Joyce. Someone forgot what they're doing. I do this every time I start one, and then I don't do it for a while. It's just more intuitive to go through both of them when really you want to just go through, through one of them. So I'm going to pull this out. and start that step again, because so that you can see what I mean instead of just me talking about it. Silly, silly me. You go through the 2 of the previous. Whoop. And then you are going to go through just 1. Not both. It's more intuitive to go through 2. And that's why I have a tendency to do it. I do also, when I reinforce, I go through 2 and then 2 and then back through the 1, so that you come, but you want to make sure you're always coming out of the 1 to start the next. Okay. Now we're ready to start the next flower. And what that means is you are going to add 1 center and 3 C's, because we have this one right here. So what that kind of is, like if we're doing this part right here, we already have that 1 already on, so we don't need to add it. We just need to add these and then go through it to make it looped. So it's 1 B and 3 C's. Then we're going to go through the 1 that we're coming out of and the 1 above it. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 5, and we need to make this 8, so we're only adding 3. And we're going to go through that petal on the other side. Oh, you're welcome, Grace. I'm glad you joined us for as long as you could. And if you want to see how this comes out, I will be posting the finished ones. Plus, you can always watch the replay when you are available to do that. Thank you so much for joining us today. I like that, Sandra. I'm glad you're taking a slow day. It's always good to take a slow day when you can. Okay, so now that I'm coming out of this, I'm going to start my own, the next flower. So in version 2, you are then now only repeating step 3, and you're just changing your colors. So this time, instead of 1B and 3 C's, oh, I'm sorry, I took that back. We're repeating 2 and 3. So we got to add the 2 here, and we're just changing our color. So whatever our color we were coming out of, we're going to change to the next color. So instead of C's that it's listed, we are going to go back to A. And we're just changing out the colors. So I got 2 A's, go through the 2 C's of the flower, and if you look at it, you got 2 on either side and 2 on up and down. That's where the 8 comes in handy. You're going to pull that, and then you're going to go through 1 A, and then you are going to put 1 B, 3 A's, and you're going to go through both of them this time, and that will get that most of that flower. And then we're going to add 3, whoop, not 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, and go through the one on the opposite side of the center, and there's that flower. Now we're to two C's, and go through 2 C's. Oops. Or 2 A's, I mean, and then go up 1 C. Add 1 B and 3 C's. Go through both of the C's that are there, and then add 3 C's. Go through the one on the opposite side, and there you go. Now we got 4 little flower sets. So there's the different, it makes more of a band, which is a really nice look. But there's your 2 different versions of it. They both have their unique perks. Absolutely, you can make this with, you can, if you wanted to go really big, you could totally like do this with lots of other beads. Like you can use it with some big rondelles, and you can, I would definitely do Firelight and probably double strand it just to give it a little bit more heft to it. But definitely you can go up, like I have the size 8s here, but you can do it in size 6s. I know, I love this. This is one of my favorites. I just love the fact that it has the leaves, and then when, of course, when you do it in the white, in the traditional white and yellow and green, it really looks like daisies. And I love that. But this is a really fun band that kind of really can be pretty. I've used that like as a band, and then have like a special motif in the center and banded on the other side. And I also like to teach this because I'm going to show another version. It's basically this, but instead of using a C bead in the center, you can also change the size bead that you put in there, which might mean that you have to change out your petal colors. And when you reinforce around, they kind of like go into shape a little bit better too. That's another. But I totally, absolutely, they're both have such fun looks to it. So that brings me to what I was going to play with. Is I was going to play with one of these 6mm fire polish as a center and make a daisy chain with those. So I'm going to pull out another bit of thread. So I'm going to use that fire polish for my bee. And we're going to see what we need to do to adapt. And I'm going to show you how to, if you're doing a new bead, what would you have to do in order to adapt it. I am using a smaller piece of thread just so that we can work this kind of quickly. I picked out 2 different ones because I couldn't decide what color, and because I made a huge mess on my table, I'm afraid to open the color I really want to use, so I might use that later. So I think what I'm going to do is use this light yellow with the pink that I have here. I think that would look really good, so we're going to go with that. Oh, very nice, Rosalinda. Uh-huh. Yes, that makes a great center. When you are using larger beads from the center, you definitely probably want, especially sharper crystals, sometimes you want to do a little more reinforcing on those because of the fact that they have sharper edges. But yes, those are great. I love that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is experiment at first. We're going to put on, so my original was 8. Sometimes you can get, like you could put a 4mm in place of that center seed bead, or even a size 6 seed bead in the center of the original with the 8 petals. But with the 6mm, I got to figure out what that's going to look like. So 7, 8. I know I definitely need to do 8. So I'm taking this and I'm just stringing them to see what would fit around. Right, so I'm going to need to put some more. It looks like 12 is what's going to go around. Let's see, does that go around? So you want something that is divisible by 4 to make it easier to follow this. Okay. So 12 works. I'm thinking I would rather have 16. So let's see what 16 is. Yep. Kind of have a feeling you knew that, but I just wanted to let people know. And I can't wait to see yours. It was always fun to see what you're making when you make with that. No, okay, so 12 is definitely what I'm going to do because 14 is way too big. 14 has too much of a gap, I think. Yeah. So what, now that I know the count, now that I know, well, actually, it only needs to be divisible by 2, really. It could have been, that was 14. Yeah. It needs to be divisible by 2, not by 4. We have 4 sides, but what we're going to do is we have, because it's the length, the 2 beads is fine on the connection. It's really the beads that go around the sides of it is what's going to make the difference. And so we have in here, we have 2, 2, and 2 all the way around. We're going to keep the 2s that are on the sides that are the connecting one, but we're going to do the rest of the beads on either of these 2 sides. So that means it's going to be 4 and 4. So we're going to have the 2 that are the connecting and then 4 instead of 2 in these spots. I know it sounds confusing, but when you kind of do it, it makes a lot more sense. So to start it, so now that I know that it's 2 and 2, those are the connecting ones, and then it's 4 down here and 4 up here. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the makeup, is the 2 and 2 and the 4 and 4. So to put it on, we have to get, we want the beads, the first part is, this is half of the beads is going to go, we're going to put them up here, and the other half we're going to put down. These are the beads that we want to add on the first step. So it's one of these, then our center, and then the rest of these, which is 5. It's the 4 on the bottom and the 1 on the side. So I have, I already have one of these on, so so 1, and then your center, and then the rest of your, the side petals, and the top or bottom petals, and then the one from the side. And then we're gonna go add here. Now we need a total of, we need a total of 12 beads, and then we have 6 on here. So that means we got to put 6 beads on. And just go into there. And there we go. We now have a little big center and little beads around the edges. Now you don't have to make them look like flowers when you do this. Sometimes it just looks really nice. It's still called a daisy chain even when you don't make it look like flowers. But I'm doing this so that today with this to make it easier to learn on it. So hopefully it does make it easier to learn. All right, so then now I got to do the connecting color, 2 of those, and go through the 2 to connect, just like I did, and then go up 1, and coming out of that 1, and now I'm ready to add. So not counting this top one, I already have 1 on there, so it's 1 and then 5, which was what we did before. We did 1, 1, 1 A, 1 B, and 5A. So the 1A or C is there, so I have my B and my 5 C's. Go through the 2, and then we're going to add 5 more. And go through that bottom, and we made a little circle around that one. And because I don't have it all cinched up, there we go. Absolutely can do this with and make it in as a sunflower. Looks super pretty as a sunflower. It's one of my favorite flowers to do in this stitch when I do it as a flower. I have a couple of them started. I've got to finish them though. Those ones I've never got to finish. I just need to pull it out of my drawer though. So I can. This is the time to do it. Go through my new color, go through the two. Go through just the one. Add my center and 5. Go through both of these. And then add 5 more. So again, with this one, I have a 6mm center. I'm still using the size 8 seed beads. Of course, you can up them if you need to, or even go down, but you might have to change your count. With the size 8, this is what you have to do. But I showed you, so I showed how to figure out the count. Hopefully that was enough to be able to let you do that for yourself if you want to try it with a different bead at some point. You can always ask me questions, and even if you don't come into this until way later, I will get the, I do get the notifications and check them when I can, so that I can always hopefully answer any questions that you have. Or you can message me. You can always message Just Bead It through Messenger, or you can always email us, jbifamily@justbeaditconcord.com. Ah, you're welcome, Jan. I'm glad. I think this is just such a lovely stitch that can be done up in so many ways. And what people don't realize is half the time they've seen some project and they didn't realize it was the daisy stitch. All it was the changing up the beads. And it just makes it look really sweet. I gotta see if I can find some of my other ones. Ah, thank you. Yes, the pink and green does make a nice springtime colors, doesn't it? Do one more of these. And then after this last flower, I'm going to show how I put my ends. I just make a little loop. To be honest, it's really simple. I just do a loop of sea beads, and then I add my clasp with the jump ring. I try to make it super simple. All right, so I did the center and 5. Go through the 2 right there, and 5 more. Oop, that was 6. 5 more. Oh, if you pull your needle off of the thread, it really makes it hard to add beads. Let's rethread this needle. So there's the version 3. It's not in the instructions. It's a little bonus for today. We have version 1. Oop. And then, oh, I'm like stuck. I'm stuck. Version 1. Version 2. And then version 3. Makes such a total different look by changing out the beads. Thank you, Karen. Have a fantastic weekend. Totally understand. Gotta feed them when they're hungry. For sure. Thanks for joining me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I know, they're pretty fun, huh? Pretty fun. So in this style, in version 1, and in any of them, the other ones you could do whichever, but what I like to do on the version 1, because I do have the leaves, I like to make my loops with the leaf color, just because it just seems like it ends it nicely. So I just pulled off that stop bead. This is my working thread on this side. I'm going to add more on this side. So I tend to end with a flower on both sides. Aw, thank you, Terry. We're going to finish up with our, just a little quick thing, but those that need to go, you probably know how to do a little loop. And all I do is from that one, I just add my leaf color, and I usually do a loop of 6 or 5. I think I'm going to go 5 this time. And then I just attach it to that petal. I go from the back side. See, and that's just big enough for me to add a jump ring in there. And that tends to be why I like to use that. Now, one method I do sometimes will put the jump ring through the size 8, which is great if you have 22 gauge, sometimes the 20, but most of the time it's the 22 or 21 gauge jump rings that are 4mm. They work great for that, but other than that, I usually use just an oval jump ring, which is what I'm going to show you today. And I'm going to go right through my loop, but I want to reinforce this loop before I do that. You're welcome, Lori. So glad. So happy. Thank you for joining me today. Oh, gotta watch out when you're working your end. Your thread is shorter, so then all of a sudden you start pulling the needle off. Let's reinforce the rest of this. I just reinforced it 3 times. And that made that loop nice and sturdy. Now I'm going to just go into my piece. I'm just kind of basically reinforcing my piece by going in here. And I'm going to tie little half hitch knots. Into my flower. Make another one here. So I did put our sale. I'm going to make an announcement, by the way. On our Etsy, we are doing a 25% off sale. That starts today. It actually is already on there, so you can kind of go in there, but I got a bunch more stuff to actually list. So there's going to be more stuff as you go. That being said, I will say oops, I didn't want to go all the way down. I wanted to go through my center. Oh. Thank you, Catherine. I know. I'm glad you do. It is the bonus is great, isn't it? A little fun, little extra. Woo-woo. Well, let's see. I might just call it done if this is going to tangle on me. You don't need to watch me undo my tangle. Just pull off the needle, Joyce, and rethread. You would need to go down from the top through the center in order to work your way down so that the thread doesn't cross. So that's gonna just work our way down there. And apparently all I know how to do is loop my thread on everything. You have those days where just constantly looping your thread around your beads. That seems to be what is happening at the moment. There we go. Do another little half hitch knot right here and weave in a little bit more, and then I'm going to cut off my thread and then just use a jump ring to attach. So we'll be adding more things as the days go by, and if I haven't mailed, if you placed an order, because there's some items are like one-of-a-kind bundle deals, if they are something that only has like one or two and you want to make sure you have it, if you place that order, and then I will combine orders if I haven't shipped it out, so that it will kind of help save, or just make a note, say save this order for my next, you know, and I could do that. If they're made within a few days of each other, I can save it for you. Because I will say there are a few things that are kind of cool that are kind of one of a kind. So if you have your eye on that, you may want to get it instead of waiting to see what else we put on. All right, there we go. That end is done. Are you talking about these little 3mm? Oh, by the way, this is my piece. Yes, I will I thought that was already listed on there. It could be I had it on pause because I had to do my inventory. But yes, I can absolutely put those on. But I got it finished, and I took a picture, and I haven't posted the picture. But there is my finished piece. I made the link so that so I could do that, and then I added here. I went through some of them while I was ending my thread, Cece, but I didn't go through all of them. You are welcome to do either. There are some people that like to go through the whole thing to reinforce it. It makes our brains happier sometimes like that. All right, Joyce, I will make sure it's on there. I might have paused it because I had to do inventory on it, and to make sure I had the right count. So it might be that I haven't reactivated it. So I will check that. What is the bracelet called? It is called, we did simple loops last week. We kept it simple with simple loops. And I just created with beads left over from when I did the wire crochet. So these components are one of the things that are going to get put up there. These little tear cast charms, they will be going up in the next day or two. I'm hoping that I could do it right after I'm done with the live or tomorrow morning. It depends. I don't have all of them pictured and I'm gonna lose light, so I gotta either do it tomorrow morning or I gotta do it, but I'm hoping that's when so it's our simple loop live that we did last week, and I just kind of played around with the different beads that I had left over. Some of these beads I do have extra strands, so I no longer have the collection that this comes in, but some of these I do have more strands of, so those are going to go up also. So there, and then these magnetic clasps are going to go up, so there's a lot of things to go up. Our week went a little different than planned, so they're going up this week. In the next few days, you're going to see a lot of sprinkling of all this funness. But yeah. So we did our simple loop project with that. All right, so then from here, all I'm going to do is take my, I'm still using silver, even though I have that gold sea bead in the center. To me, if I use silver, that means that gold kind of turns into yellow instead of it as gold. And the silver looks really pretty with the pink, so I think it works out really well. And I'm just going to add my clasp to this one end in that loop. I hope I answered those questions. Oh, thank you, Ruth. If you have any other question, or if I missed your question or didn't finish answering your question, because sometimes I kind of go, you know, I go, ooh, and I kind of mid-sentence change my subject. So please ask again or message us. There we go. Now I just got to finish the rest of it and I'll have a bracelet. I got the clasp on. The clasp on one side anyway. And then I got all these fun ones to do too. It'd be cool to wear them all together, I think. I think so. I love it. Bye, Catherine. Thank you. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to you. All right, let's flip the camera so that we can maybe. There we go. Where am I? There I am. Hello. I hope you had as much fun as me. I really enjoy this stitch, and I can't wait to see what you make with it. Make sure to, check it, take a picture of what you're making and pop on. We'd love to see it in our Just Beaded Happy Beaders group or on our page. It is so lovely to see so many people. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating. Enjoy yourself and bead, and let's share and have a great time. It was so wonderful to be here this Saturday with you. Yes, happy Easter to you too. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic weekend. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll go pop over the PDF. I'm so sorry that wasn't hanging out over there. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.